my scrappy friends, I have a mixed media spread for you. I don't have the beginning part of it, but this is where I'm picking off. I have some white paint and some like blue paint on there, and that's just acrylic paint. And then I took a stencil with some modeling paste. I believe it shimmers, and some X's. And then I just took that Dana Wakley acrylic paint that's in the little squeezy bottles. I thought I heard her say something about that they're going to be offering those more than the tubes lately. So, but it's just a fun little way to apply your paint because it's more of like that fine line instead of like a glob. But so. And this spread is actually, I did this like a long time ago. I was the guest designer for Maya Road a while back. And so this is one of the spreads that I did with their stuff. I wanted to do a traveler's notebook spread because I really like to do mixed media in the traveler's notebooks. They're just a really fun size that you can do just a little bit of media and have some fun. And Maya Road has some really fun elements that really helped make the spread come together. And I wanted to do this a little bit more distressed because the story I'm gonna tell in here is my results from my ancestry DNA stuff from around Christmas. I got some kits and from a couple of different companies, and I wanted to document this differently. And I thought the Traveler's Notebook would be a fun little way to talk about it. I probably will do more documentation and actually like journal about how I feel and stuff, and maybe put like my tree in and stuff. I'll probably do more of like a layout or something with some of that stuff, or maybe like in my project life or something where I can do a whole bunch of cards. But this is just a little fun way to start this process and just kind of dump journal, if you will. So I'm going to take some Maggie Holmes stuff, and I really like the Maggie Holmes because it has that vintage feel without it being really really dark, which I mean, I chose a traveler's notebook that had darker colors already, but with the media and this paper, it's going to kind of lighten it up a little, and it won't feel like your typical ancestry heritage type of album or like spread, which is what I wanted because I didn't want it to be, I wanted it to have that feel, but not entirely. So I took my fine line bottle with what I have in here is some shimmers, acrotones, navy, and tartar. That's their black. And then I mixed it with some fluid acrylic medium. And then, and so it's just really light. So I'm going to also take this dauber, which also has some like teal acrylic paint with some of that in there too. So the acrylic medium, it kind of makes it less thicker, and then it just daubs a lot easier. But I'm gonna end up adding a little bit more blue or like aqua to it and just kind of play around. And this is the one thing about using different types of like applications. So when you use like a dauber and then you add a little bit of paint on top of it, it really helps it feel like you see these layers and you can add just a little bit and your layers don't feel like they're really heavy. But I am going to start adding some other pieces, and so, and like I said, I'm going to be picking some pieces that kind of have that heritage feel. Like when you look at a heritage layout, that's I wanted it to have bits and pieces of that, even though this really isn't a style that I do very often. I just thought it would be kind of fun to play around with something like that. So one of the things that Maya Road has that is really awesome is they have these awesome dies, and so I pulled out my die cutter the manual one, which I don't take out very often. I have an Evolution. We are memory keepers, and they have it so that you can put in electric, so you could um, it'll roll your dies through on the plates with like a electric crank, or you can manually crank it. I just have the manual, but it only works with really thin die or thinner dies, so you can't use like the really thick like Tim Holtz ones and stuff. Um, but it worked really good for these Maya Road ones, and so they had these layered ones that make these like different types of flowers, like almost like flowers and stuff. And so I layered that, and I put some vellum butterfly on the one. And I know I'm going to use those tassels. So the suede one is from Maya Road, the white one, and then the other ones are from Maggie Holmes. But they have these really cool clothespins, or like, well, not clothespins, like a safety pin, really. And the safety pin holds those really well. So it was really fun. So I'm just gonna I'm putting this picture is layered with some pattern paper, and then on there has some of my results. So I wanted to have the results on there, and I'm just gonna play around with tons of layers and fun stuff because that's what I do, right? So I mean, I'm gonna add a lot of these clips and stuff from Maya Road. They have these awesome clips, and they have these really cool numbers. So I put I use the brass numbers there from Ken Oliver. A collab with Ken Oliver, so in Maya Road. And they have these acrylic pieces, so I'm going to add these too. And this does end up being really chunky, but I don't mind that. And I absolutely love this key. So this was one of the things that came in the pack. And at first I seen it and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with this key? Because I am not one to add, like, it's a heavy key. It's really heavy. And I'm not one to add that kind of stuff to my layouts. And I was like, how am I going to use this? But then I seen the number on it, and it had my birth year number on there, and I was like, well, I have to use that. And so this is the perfect place to use it because you know, we're talking about my DNA. We're talking about, like, where do I come from? And that's part of, you know, your birth year is part of that. And I thought it was really cool, and I thought it would be just a fun way to put that in there. So awesome, right? So if you guys are really interested in hearing more about my results, if you guys are at all interested in that kind of stuff, let me know in the comments below, and I'll just do a video where I just kind of talk a little bit about my DNA. I did my results through Ancestry, and I also did my results, my DNA, through a company called what was it? Living DNA, I think. It's a company through UK. And it does a really good job going through and checking your Great Britain DNA, or like DNA from Great Britain and the surrounding areas. I mean, they'll show you for other parts of the world, like Europe and stuff too, but they really like have it segmented in areas of the UK and England, and so, which was really cool because I am over 50% from Great Britain, so British, and or from England or Great Britain, really. So it was kind of fun to see the areas where my DNA is found. So and I mean, I've done tree work for a long time, and so for me there weren't too many things. But anyway, so if you guys want to hear more about that I can do something else. So I also added some other, like, a bow and stuff, and I used those dies a lot for the flowers. I really liked the element of having all this mixed media and then having like these imperfect flowers with the fringes and stuff, and this was just really fun. It was really fun. And I thought about not having the colors for the one, that one up at the top is actually from the UK stuff. And it shows like all the different areas and everything of UK. So nice and fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys have a great scrappy week. Bye.